My first meeting with Eckhart went about as well as could be expected. He sat me down and gave me a speech that felt like it had been rehearsed nearly a dozen times over. I'm guessing it's the same one he gives to all of his new recruits. Every gesticulation and head nod seemed like it was issued on cue. He smelled like a Tavarin cigarette and had a personality to match. The worst part is he kept shooting me a big fake smile that doesn't suit his face at all, as if his head was unfamiliar with the action and was trying to reject it at every attempt. No matter what expression he tried to plaster over that face, it still had the underlying look of a hungry dog that was eyeballing a slab of meat. That's why his smile was so unnerving. It turns out that Eckhart legitimately loves the militia, seeing how we've been doing all the work for him, and he loves to turn one of ours into one of his. And it sickens me to think that I'm his newest pet project. Since that day, I've done several jobs for Miles. Nothing too bad so far, but they all lead you to somewhere that makes you want to click the abandoned button on your Moby Glass as soon as you arrive. I've also gotten a new ship courtesy of Eckhart Industry. It's an off-the-books Cutlass Black, the new updated model that Drake has recently flooded into the Stanton system in an attempt to get the rest of the market to start buying what's been generally considered up till now to be an underperforming and outdated ship. The new version is rather nice, especially in comparison to the old jalopy. Now mind you, the older version had some old world charm to it, but wasn't practical in the least. This new one can be used for nearly any kind of mission that's presented to the militia, from combat to transport. It can even be used for a little light cargo hauling. I like it because it's the lowest profile ship that you could be flying, and there's so many of them out here in Stanton that flying around in one is like being in a yellow transport cab back on Terra. The daily migration of Terra's yellow cabs is quite a sight if you've never seen it before. Huge flocks of them congregate at transportation hubs and travel en masse together like migrating birds flowing through the city's arteries. They split and dissipate to the four winds once they hit the city's end, flying off to their respective individual destinations, and then they coalesce back together again into one giant yellow mass around the entrance ports located along the city limits. The point is, they blend in, are hard to track, and anyone who wants to try and hunt your credentials down by searching through the available list of cutlasses is going to have one hell of a mountain of information to have to sift through. I took a look under the hood, and it's been modified just as the ships I'd expected from the wreck site had been. No serial numbers, falsified transponders, black box removed, and nav computers that reset every time you power the ship down. There was even a note sitting on the dashboard for me stating, "Welcome to the family." He's even set aside some hangar space for me here at Levski. An amateur would look at all of this as an act of kindness or appreciation for a job well done. I see it for what it is. He's making me dependent on him, and if I cross him, I'll end up losing everything. Once he has me fully under his grasp, he won't be asking anymore, he'll be ordering me to do missions, and most likely ones that can't be found on the board. This is the thing about our job. It's pretty clear cut. Anything that comes in on the message board, we're clear to do, regardless of what it asks. I think that's why owning Blackjack Security is so important to Eckhart. It's a legitimate business that's already been approved by the UEE to post bounty hunting jobs and security missions on our boards. But what he needs are people who are willing to do any kind of job for him. He needs a lot of muscle, and he needs it now. Once I start doing jobs that aren't posted on the board, I'm taking matters into my own hands, and I'll have to take responsibility for that. It's a dangerous game I'm playing now, one that could turn on me at any minute. Well, I've just come back from my second personal meeting with Eckhart. Like I said before, Miles had been playing nice up until now. This time, he sat me down and told me that he needs me to do another mission for him. This wasn't a request. I already know how the tone of this meeting would go if I pushed back, so instead, I played along. After all, I'm trying to get deeper into his organization, and this is going to be the way to do it. So I sat down, listened to what he had to say, and took the mission without blinking an eye like a good little minion would. Afterwards, I checked, and this mission he wants me to do is definitely off the books. If I pursue it and get caught, I could be facing UEE criminal charges and possibly end up on a job posting board myself. I'm finally going to be stepping over the line with this one. Just after I accepted it from Miles, an odd thing had happened. The same job description appeared in the personal section of my Moby Glass, complete with an authentication code, and was set as though I had already accepted it. This is unheard of. These things are unhackable, at least by UEE tech standards. In reality, nothing is unhackable. Pirates hack into our message boards all the time by shutting down comm arrays and setting up an open channel, but those postings are only local and they get wiped as soon as the comm arrays are rebooted. But setting up a permanent posting like this, one that doesn't leave a trail for the UEE data hounds to track down, is something completely different. The postscript said, "I know what you're up to, and I'm here to help. Just keep doing missions for Eckhart and wait for further instructions. Signed, V." What the hell is this? More clowns for me to have to deal with, that's what. It's bad enough that Miles thinks he's pulling my strings, but whoever this ends up being is actually manipulating things with the virtuosity of a true puppet master, and I don't like that feeling at all. When this was my operation, I knew where things stood. This cloak and dagger stuff is not my style. I don't like where this is going. I've been standing on a mountain of sand for too long now, and it's about time that I got back onto solid ground. About 2 weeks have passed since that message came in from my mysterious benefactor, the one that only refers to him or herself simply as V. I've continued doing missions for Eckhart, and he seems to be getting quite comfortable working with me. I was given my own personal hangar at Levski. No, not one of those 4 monstrosities that the general public uses. This one is located in a quiet, out-of-the-way location. Plus, I was given full access to the rest of Levski and its facilities, including the shut-down mining tunnels that are closed off to everybody else. We mainly use them as temporary storage for contraband, although I have spotted some wall shackles and prison cells back there as well. Thank the Emperor that they've always been empty. Well, I've just gotten another message from V. This time it's a job offer, one that pays a ridiculous amount of UEC for simply showing up to a meeting and sticking around long enough to hear what they have to say. Hell, I would have come for free. Mainly because I can't resist an unsolved mystery, the chances of it being a setup are slim, and I have a lot more to gain than lose at this point. Well, I'm heading off now, so wish me luck. This is Law of the West, signing off.